Ahoy hoy, I'm Planawalk, and today we are on to Pseudoscientist number 8 of the 12 Pseudoscientists of Christmas. And today's Pseudoscientist is a flat earther who I think a lot of people have forgotten about despite still putting out content. I'm talking about Dean Wright. Now, you might think that his last name would lead to him being right, but unfortunately for him, much like the word wrong, it starts with a W. Anyway, last time we were looking at Dean Wright, he was talking about how reptilians rule the Earth. Let's continue from that, shall we?
Flat Earth and reptilians rule our realm. And we've got some meaty articles to show you tonight, guys.
You know, I don't often hear people seriously talking about reptilian overlords, so I think this is going to be a new form of crazy that I've never heard before.
This is by James Bartley. He's a UFO researcher. I've read many of his books in the past, but he's also an abductee as well.
Oh, so it's just alien abduct. I could have gotten that from one of the other pseudoscientists in this series.
Since the release of my last treatise, Astral Dreamscape Manipulation, several people have contacted me and have provided graphic detail. They didn't allow personal embarrassment or shame to prevent them from admitting to me that they too had endured the very things which I described in Astral Dreamscape Manipulation.
You do realise that people can contact someone to say literally any unverified statement, right? Like, I get not wanting to say, oh, well, this person is lying or this person is untrustworthy, but sometimes people are just untrustworthy. Sometimes people remember things incorrectly or hallucinate things even. There are a surprising number of people out there that will say crazy things or even just make crazy things up.
The reptilians are the controlling factor. One cannot understand why there is constant strife, tragedy and turmoil in the world without first realising that the human race is under the control and domination of a cruel and remorseless intelligence.
You know, I'm pretty sure that the human race itself is very capable of creating strife, turmoil, tragedy, all on its own without the need for any reptilian overlords. There are plenty of humans out there who do not think twice about whatever harm their actions may cause. And there are even humans out there who will cause harm to others because they get some kind of kick out of it.
David Icke made an invaluable contribution with his book, The Biggest Secret.
You know, from what I've heard about him, David Icke is not someone I'd take seriously, but that being said, we are talking about people who themselves are not serious people. So there's not really anything that I can say that would convince them that David Icke shouldn't be taken seriously.
There persists this feeling amongst many that the reptilian overlordship doesn't have any direct impact in their own lives. Some people are willing to believe that the British royal family and the so-called Eastern establishment are reptilian human hybrids, but they are unable or unwilling to see how their quality of life has been eroded by these same reptilian human hybrids.
You know, he might actually have a point there. There have been a few times when I'm hanging out with someone and then the royal family gets brought up, and I'm expected to know something about the royal family, but I don't, so I just feel very awkward. And then when I say that I don't know anything about the royal family, they just look at me all shocked, like I've committed some kind of crime, and they're going to send me all the way to England. Though I do not think that the royal family has to be reptilians in order to achieve that. I think that's just celebrity culture in general.
Policies are initiated by these reptilians, which are then passed down through successive lower echelon underlings, like the Freemasons, who take the necessary actions.
You know, there are millions of Freemasons around the world. You don't think that one of them might have come forward and said, hey, we're being given orders by the reptilian people? That's actually one of the things I find wild about any conspiracy involving the Freemasons. They act like it's some small elite group, but no, there's actually millions of them.
And these lizard creatures leave their phallic symbols all over the place, just to rub it in our collective face. I'm seeing more and more obelisks at shopping malls these days. They're all over. When I travelled around Europe about 6 years ago, we went to about 5 different countries, and there were obelisks everywhere in the town squares.
You know, if you think that lizard people are trying to use phallic symbols like obelisks to rub in our faces something, you should probably just download Grindr and find yourself a guy. Most people aren't so down bad that they will look at an obelisk and go, yeah, they're really rubbing it in my face right now.
I will say this more than once during the treatise. 98% of all Americans are dead broke, by the age of 65. And even that wasn't good enough for the Illuminati.
So I find it hard to believe that 98% of Americans are dead broke by the age of 65, given that the median net worth of a 65-year-old in America is $400,000. I know to some people it may not seem like a lot, but it's certainly at least a magnitude of order above my net worth. But even if we did take that as true, wouldn't it make more sense that greed might be a problem rather than lizard people?
This was all planned, and it was planned by an inhuman intelligence that thinks ahead in terms of decades and centuries, like I've said before. Unlike most Americans who can see no further than the next paycheck, people are too busy trying to eke out a subsistence existence and consequently lack the time or the intellectual capacity to ponder the truly important questions in life, like, why is it so hard to get ahead in this world?
Sometimes it's as simple as there are a lot of people all trying to do the same thing, and the people that have managed to succeed aren't always willing to give that up. You don't need lizard people, you don't need the Illuminati, you don't need a centuries-long plan. You just need people who are not willing to give up their wealth, or people who are greedy. And sometimes there's just a bit of luck involved. You might just be in the right time at the right place.
The first cause of divorce in this country is the stress and unhappiness generated within the relationship by debt and lack of money. One of the major causes of illness in this country is stress created by debt and the lack of money.
Again, if that is true, you do not need a conspiracy that involves lizard people. Like, when it comes to the cost of living crisis that's going on, a lot of that can be attributed to not enough houses being built, which drives up the prices of rent, it drives up the prices of houses. And part of that is due to the fact that there are some people out there that do not want apartment complexes built near them, but I don't think that all NIMBYs are reptilians. Some people just like the fact that their house is way overvalued, especially when everything else is going up in price too.
Remember that 1/10 of 1% of America's population enjoys the top lifestyle on the plane.
Dean, that says on the planet. So even someone who is crazy enough to believe in lizard people doesn't agree with your craziness about the Earth being flat.
And yet it is many of these same elites who coined the war cry, money isn't everything.
Damn, I had no idea that my parents were elites. But I do think that there is a sentiment of money can't buy happiness that is often held by people that are doing at least alright financially. Sometimes they might realise that there are problems in their life that just can't simply be fixed by having a little bit more money. Or maybe they might even realise that with the small amount of money that they have everything that they want in life. It's certainly not just rich people that say that. Now that doesn't change the fact that there are people out there that more money would make their life better. I am one of those people. Go support me on Patreon. But there are certainly people that are doing fine with what they have. And those people might be the sorts of people that say money isn't everything.
Keep in mind that this poverty consciousness really gained momentum a scant 88 years ago with the creation of the Federal Reserve banking system. 13 in an occulted number. 1933 was the year the eye and the triangle symbol was first appeared on the Federal Reserve notes. 33 is likewise an occultic number. 1933 marked the first appearance of the Latin inscription Annuit Coeptus Novo Ordus Seclorum. The translation, our enterprise is crowned with success, a new world order.
So firstly, the Eye of Providence can be a symbol for either a god or a deity, and in fact some people take it to mean the Christian god. Now, Annuus Coeptus means something along the lines of to favour undertakings. But in the context of being around the Eye of Providence, it can also be translated to mean Providence has favoured our undertakings. And if you took the Eye of Providence to be a symbol for God, then it would translate to God has favoured our undertakings. Now, Novus Ordo Seclorum means a new order for the ages, which has more to do with the fact that America broke away from British rule. Now, the interesting thing about this is it's not just some design on currency, it's actually a part of the Great Seal of the United States, which was designed in 1782. And in addition to that, it was 1935, not 1933, that they decided to put both sides of the Great Seal of the United States on the $1 bill. So that means that half of what they have there is just wrong, misleading, or out of context. Like, sure, the Federal Reserve was created in 1913, but if you want to take 13 as some special number, well, the moon landings happened in 1969, and I can take 69 as some special number too. Especially if you want to talk about rubbing it in our faces.
The reptilian mind. David Icke posted in The Biggest Secret that the actual rulers of this planet are reptilians who reside in the lower fourth dimension and who work through their reptilian human hybrids that have attained positions of power on Earth. These reptilian human hybrids are the driving force behind most of the systemic cruelty and wickedness on Earth.
So if you want to convince me that we're all ruled by reptilians, then first step is to not be a flat earther. That's a good start. But the second step would be to have more evidence than just David Icke says it. And they're also going for the angle of, oh, look at all the suffering. But look, humans are capable of terrible things. There is constant war in the world. There are humans that fall into extremism, into fanaticism. There are people that just do bad things because they want to. And yeah, it can be depressing to realize that you are part of a species that is capable of all that. But that's just reality, unfortunately. It can be easy to try and turn to conspiracism to try and deny these facts, but honestly, a better thing is to just be a decent human being. And unlike the idea of reptiles ruling the world, that is something that's actually within your control. Sure, it's not going to fix everyone's problems, but it is at least something you can do. Now, I have noticed something that's about to come up in Dean Wright's video, and I don't really want to talk about it because A, it's a heavy subject, and B, YouTube wouldn't like it if I talked about it. But I did also notice that it mentions chemtrails, which it's like, is there a conspiracy that Dean Wright doesn't believe in? Anyway, I think I'm going to leave it there, because I don't think we're going to get any kind of evidence of lizard people anytime soon. It genuinely just seems to be a conspiracy born out of people just making stuff up, and also Mark Zuckerberg. So leave a like and subscribe if you like this video. Leave a comment letting me know who you think the upcoming pseudoscientists are going to be. As always, a big shout out to my $20 or more patrons: Hugh Jarsz, M.C.Nutkin, Tony C, Rosyna Keller, Ray, KidVicious, definitely not NASA, Morrie, Kaylee, and FistWizard. If you want to support me financially, you can do so on Patreon. There should be a link there, or you could buy me a coffee. I will see you in the next video. Between you and me, thank you for watching.